Okay, now that we've got two pre-test questions, let's move down to the Task Scenarios tab. Now, task scenarios are the heart of a usability test. A scenario is generally a short story about a specific user with a specific goal to satisfy while using a website or web application. So let's create a new scenario. You do that by clicking on the plus sign on the right-hand side, and this will bring up a new scenario creation box. Now, if you entered scenarios as part of your test plan, and this is where you would actually load them. If you had some in your test plan, this box would not be grayed out. You'd be able to load them from your test plan in here in the Task Scenarios tab. Now let's give our scenario a name. Let's name it .NET Framework. And then this is where the scenario text goes. Now I'm not going to write out a whole long scenario. I'm just going to ask a question that we can go to our website and answer, so you can see how UTE works. Let's say, what version of Microsoft .NET Framework must you have in order to run UTE 3? What version of Microsoft's .NET Framework must you have in order to run UTE 3? Now, once again, you have some rich text capabilities here. Now let's just make it a little bigger. So once you've written your scenario, you need to designate a starting point. And this is where you will put in, which generally will be a URL. And this is where you put it in. So I'm going to put in our UTE homepage, www.utetool.com. And then by clicking on the three dot or ellipsis button on the right-hand side, this will actually take us right there, so we can see exactly if this is where we want to go. And this is the right page. And so I'm going to click Starting URL. Now, if I didn't know the exact starting page that I wanted to use, I didn't have anything to enter in here, I could leave that blank, and then I could click on the ellipsis button, and then I'll just take you to basically your home page, your whatever browser you're using. It'll take it to your home page, and you'll be able to navigate from there and tell it where you want the ending page to be. Next, you must determine how you want the scenario to be completed. UTE gives you 4 completion options: the reach page, answer question, user done, and first click. Now, on the reach page completion option, the task is completed when the participant reaches a target page. So to designate the target page, click on the plus sign and then navigate to the correct page. And then we'll select ending URL, and it will save it here. Now, for the answer question completion option, this is the most common completion option, and participants are required to answer a specific question. This is the one we'll use, so I'll come back to this. Let's move down to user done. This completion option, basically the participants will tell you when they feel like they have completed the task. And you see with all these options, you can require that they highlight where they find their answer. So the last completion option is first click. Now, built into UTE is native support for first click testing. First click testing it's basically the methodology that focuses on the first click on the first page that a participant encounters. A recent review of test data showed that participants had an 87% chance of successfully completing the scenario if their first click was correct. Whereas if their first click was incorrect, the chance of success dropped to 46%. So we've included in UTE 3 native support for first click testing. So let's go back to the answer question option, and you can select whether you want them to be able to answer at the beginning of the scenario or when they reach the ending URL, and you can require that they highlight the answer that they find. Let's just make this available to begin the scenario. So for an answer option, we have a radio button, complete one or check one match, check all match, typed entry long, and typed entry short. Let's again use the radio button. Let's put in some answers here. Now it's important to remember that if you're going to be using closed-end questions like multiple choice or true and false, you can help to score the test by generating reports telling whether or not the participants got the scenario correct. If you use an open-ended question, it's up to the tester to determine whether or not the participant was correct. For a closed-end question like this, we know what the correct answer is, and if we want you to score it, we need to put a checkbox next to the correct answer. And once again, we have rich text capabilities. So this is one of the neat things about UTE 3 is it allows you to go out and preview at any point during the test creation. It's a powerful debugging tool. So let's go down here and click on the preview button, and this will take us through the scenario that we just created. So what version of Microsoft's .NET Framework must you have in order to run UTE 3? Begin task. So this is basically what the test participants will see. So I like it. So once we've finished it, we can click OK. Actually, let's open that back up. I'll show you a few other things you can do here. You may also want to add some pre or post scenario questions. And this is where you do it while you're creating the scenario. You see a pre-scenario question tab, post-scenario question tab, and this functions the exact same way as I just showed you in the pre-test question section. You'll see this is the library. This is the custom question that I created. And to include them before a particular scenario, you would put them over here, and it would show up before that actual scenario showed up. Well, for this one, this is a post scenario. This will show up after the scenario. Now, pre-scenario questions are a good place to gather information about participants' expectations regarding the difficulty of the scenario. And post-scenario questions are a good place to compare how the participant feels after the scenario compared to their pre-scenario expectations. So also with UTE 3, you can create interventions to help keep test participants on track. In UTE, there are 3 types of interventions that you can include. There is scenario timeout, page timeout, and click deviation. You can also designate paths. Paths are an advanced feature of UTE, and they can be used to keep participants from wandering too far from expected routes through a website or web application. They can also enhance click path reporting. Okay, so when you are finished creating your scenario, click the OK button. You'll be taken back to the main Task Scenarios page. You also have the ability to create practice scenarios. Now, practice scenarios are good to help familiarize test participants with the UTE runner interface. And this is a good way for participants to learn what is expected of them before they actually go on the clock. Now, scenarios that belong together can be put together in groups. Then you can choose to randomize scenarios within the group and add pre and post group questions. And once again, this functions just as any other question throughout the test. They all function the same way. The difference is where you include them in your test.